The night was still, the kind of quiet that only comes before a storm. Lightning flashed across the Texas plains, revealing the silhouette of a man so large, so steady, that even the thunder seemed to hesitate before roaring. His name was Cole Jackson, a rancher known across 3 counties not just for his size, but for the size of his heart. Folks called him the Giant Cowboy. But that night, standing outside a small wooden shack in the middle of nowhere, Cole wasn't thinking about his reputation. He was thinking about the trembling young woman inside, and the promise he had made to her: "I'll push every inch inside you, every inch of courage, every inch of strength, every inch of the light you forgot you had." Mai was barely 20, a girl from a nearby village who had fled her home after her father's passing and her stepbrother's cruelty. She had found work at the Jackson Ranch, cooking and cleaning, quiet as a shadow. The others said she was broken, that she didn't talk, didn't laugh, didn't even look people in the eyes. But Cole had seen something different. He had seen fear wrapped in silence, and silence wrapped in pain. And he wasn't the kind of man who could just walk past that. It began a few weeks before the storm, on a scorching afternoon when the air shimmered above the ranch fields. Cole had found Mai in the barn, trembling as she tried to lift a heavy hay bale twice her size. "You'll hurt yourself," he'd said gently, stepping in. But she had shaken her head, whispering, "I'm fine." The words had come out so soft they barely made it to his ears. That was when he noticed her hands, scarred and red, signs of a life that had known too much labor and too little love. "You're strong," he told her. "But strength ain't about lifting hay or carrying weight. It's about standing tall when the world tries to break you." Her eyes had glistened, but she had turned away before he could see the tears fall. Over the days that followed, Cole began to teach her things, not about ranch work, but about living again. He showed her how to ride horses, how to fix fences, how to breathe when panic tried to steal her air. Every evening, they'd walk down by the river, where he'd tell her stories about his mother, a woman who had raised him single-handedly after his father died in a rodeo accident. She always said, Cole would tell her, "Son, when you see someone drowning in fear, don't throw a rope, jump in and swim with them." One day, Mai finally asked, "Why are you helping me?" He looked at her for a long moment before answering. "Because once, someone helped me." It was true. Years ago, Cole had been a lost boy himself, angry, reckless, and drunk most nights. After his mother's death, he'd shut the world out until an old preacher took him in. "The world don't need more strong men," the preacher had told him. "It needs kind ones." Those words had rebuilt him from the inside out. And now, seeing Mai, fragile and frightened, Cole felt the same responsibility. But healing isn't easy, and the past doesn't vanish without a fight. One evening, while Cole was out fixing a broken fence, Mai disappeared. When he came back to the ranch, he found her room empty, her few belongings gone, her bed neatly made. Panic gripped his chest. He saddled his horse and rode out into the dark, following her faint tracks down the muddy road. The storm clouds were rolling in fast, and by the time he reached the old bridge, the rain was falling like needles. That's when he saw her, standing at the edge of the river, shaking, the current roaring below. "Mai," he shouted over the storm. "Don't do this." She turned, her face pale and wet, eyes wide with despair. "I can't do it anymore, Cole. I can't live with the memories. I'm broken inside." He dismounted and stepped toward her slowly. "You ain't broken," he said, voice steady but soft. "You've just been hurt. There's a difference." Tears streamed down her cheeks. "I don't know how to live without pain." "Then let me teach you." His voice cracked slightly, but he meant every word. "Let me push every inch of light, every inch of love, every inch of hope back into your soul, till there's no room left for the darkness." The bridge groaned under the weight of the storm, the wind screaming like a wounded spirit. Mai looked down at the raging water, then back at him. For a moment, neither spoke. Then the wood beneath her feet cracked, and she slipped. Cole lunged forward, grabbing her wrist just as she fell. The current tore at them, rain blinding his eyes, but he held on with everything he had. His muscles burned, his boots slid on the wet planks, yet he refused to let go. "I got you," he shouted. "You hear me? I got you." And he did. Inch by inch, with strength born of pure will, Cole pulled her up from the edge of death, his promise echoing in every movement. When he finally dragged her onto solid ground, both collapsed in the mud, gasping, crying, laughing through tears. When the storm passed, and dawn painted the sky pink and gold, Mai sat beside the river, wrapped in Cole's jacket. "Why didn't you let me go?" she asked softly. He looked at her, eyes tired but full of warmth. "Because I've seen what happens when people give up on themselves. You deserve better. You deserve to live, Mai." That morning, something changed in her. She didn't speak much after that, but the silence was no longer heavy. It was peaceful. Months went by. The ranch bloomed again, greener, livelier, filled with laughter that had been missing for years. Mai began to smile more, to sing while she cooked, to talk with the ranch hands. She even started teaching Cole how to play an old guitar she found in the barn. "You've got heavy fingers, cowboy," she teased one day, grinning. He chuckled. "Guess I'm better at lifting people than playing strings." One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Cole sat with her on the porch. The air was cool, the sky painted in gold and crimson. She turned to him and said, "You know, you kept your promise." He frowned playfully. "Which one?" "You pushed every inch of hope inside me." She smiled faintly. "Now I feel alive again." Cole looked away, blinking back tears. He had saved many horses, rebuilt many fences, but saving a soul was something different. "You did that yourself," he said softly. "I just reminded you that you could." Years later, people would still talk about the giant cowboy, the man who pulled a girl back from the edge, who taught her how to live again. And Mai. She became more than just a survivor. She became the heart of the Jackson Ranch, helping young women who had faced their own storms, teaching them the same lesson she had learned that night, that even the heaviest darkness can be lifted, inch by inch, when someone believes you deserve the light. And sometimes, when the sky turned gray and the thunder rolled across the plains, Cole would find her standing by the river, watching the water rush by. She'd turn to him and smile, whispering, "You saved me that night." And he'd always reply the same way, voice gentle and sure. "No, Mai. You saved yourself. I just helped you find the strength you already had inside." As the wind carried their laughter across the endless Texas fields, the sun would break through the clouds, a reminder that storms don't last forever.